In this lecture, we are going to create a crash animation. We are going to build a simple animation together. To create an animation in After Effects, you need to create a composition. A composition, you would say, is a container that will have all your layers and the animations that you want on your layers. To create a new composition, just come to this button here, click, and you are given the composition setting and creation dialog box. You can come over here and give it a name. For example, first animation. And from the preset here, I would like you to choose HDTV 720 by 25. This is pretty good for motion graphics. It will give you a composition, or later on you will make a video that is 1280 pixel by 720 pixels. That's what we call 720p. Keep the time at 5 seconds. To have 5 seconds here, write 500 and choose your background. You can choose any color in your background the way you want. I would choose that color, is okay for me. Click OK, and you have created your first composition where you will start putting your text and start animating. That is the composition panel, or the composition viewer panel. Also, in your project panel, you have created your first composition, and in the timeline, your first animation appears. Let's start adding some text. You can come to the toolbar here and click on the T for tool type, and come to your composition viewer and click inside and simply start writing motion graphics, for example. You can choose or select your selection tool and click and drag your text wherever you want it on the screen. You have here a panel that is the character panel. If you have it, just click on it and you will see a lot of information, a lot of changes you can do to your text. For example, to make it bigger or smaller. If you don't have the character panel, come to your window here and you will find character here and click it. It will appear on this side and you can manipulate a bit. Now, if your characters are okay in the composition viewer, that's very fine, leave it that way. We come here in the timeline. In the timeline, we see our text layer being listed. We have our timeline indicator. We are now positioned at 0 second, and the seconds are here. If you move your timeline indicator, you will find that it's moving in time for this layer or for the whole timeline. In your layer here, just twirl down the small arrow here, you will find text and transform. Let's twirl down transform and find that you have very many animations that you can do, in total 5 of them, and these are really many. To create an animation or to start an animation, you click on the stopwatch for what you want to animate. For example, let's animate the scale. So click on the stopwatch and a keyframe is created for you. So that small diamond here is called a keyframe. A keyframe means that at this time, that is 0, put the scale of this layer. Of course, we are in this layer here. I'm scrolling up and down with the mouse. Put it at 100. You can change this value. You can click on it and type 0, and the value changes to 0. Of course, now we don't see anything because the scale is 0. Let's move the time to 1 second. So I take the timeline indicator and move it to 1 second. I can come and change the value of the scale to, for example, 100. It will create another keyframe here, and that keyframe means at this time, which is 1 second, make the scale 100%. If you click and hold your timeline indicator and scrub through, you notice and you get a feel of your animation. To preview your animation, you come to the preview panel. Of course, if it opens very big, you can just stretch it down. You need only this line. If it doesn't show at all, come to window and you have preview here. Just make sure it's ticked and it will appear on your right side here. So in the preview here, we can just press the play button and we have our animation. This is your first animation. After Effects will go from time 0 to time 5, that's 5 seconds, and will show you your animation. Now you have created 2 keyframes, one at 0% for the scale and the second one is at 100%. And After Effects will do the rest. It will take the scale from 0 to 100% in between these two keyframes. Let's create more. You come to the text, click on text, and click in your composition viewer, and you can start writing new text. For example, it's fun. Then you can choose your selection tool, move it around, wherever you want to put it. If you click and drag the layer, you notice now a new layer has been created for you with the text "it's fun." If you twirl down also the arrow, you will find text and transform. You can now use, for example, opacity. So you position your timeline indicator on the second keyframe, for example. You can also position it anywhere. Let's put it here and keyframe the opacity to start the animation by using the stopwatch. A keyframe is created for you. You really don't care about the technical aspect of a keyframe for now. I will explain this very much in details later on. And put the opacity to 0. In short, that keyframe means at this time, which is 1 second, make the opacity 0%. Let's go to 2 seconds and we change the value of the opacity. Let's make it 100. So that keyframe means at this time, 2 seconds, make opacity 100. So After Effects will do the interpolation or the interpretation of the animation between 1 second and 2 seconds. If you drag your timeline indicator to the beginning and scrub through, you will notice your animation and you can have a good feel of it, what is happening here. So you notice it's coming and the other one is coming. Let's twirl up and see exactly all our layers. That's the 2 layers we have created. We can come to preview and press the play button and see our animation. Here you are, you created your first animation, and it's important that you start doing that because there is no need to learn every single detail in all the options that you have here to be able to create your first animation. It's also important to get a feel of the program, to see exactly what you can do and to see exactly what makes you happy, what kind of animations you want to create. You notice here we have many transformations. The same style I used here, click on the stopwatch first, then click and change the value. You will be able to use the position, the rotation, or any other transformation that you want here, including of the anchor point. Now, what I would like you to do is go to After Effects and try this. It's important that you get familiar with the program. Though you don't know all the details, it's not important. You need to start learning about, okay, how does this thing work? If you do that and you play a bit, the next lectures and the next sections will become much easier for you. If you want to start with the big explanations, then you will get bored and you will not start this course at all. So this is my proposal to you. I've been working on software for, 30 years now. And I know that it is very boring to go into the details before doing something, something small. So go ahead, this is your chance. Create your first animation and make sure that you are, having fun. I must warn you, motion graphics is about fun. It is not serious. You need to have fun in your heart. You need to be able to imagine and to create something original. And you need to focus and start learning these small methods, the small tips and the big methods also, and the big techniques to create fantastic animations. I leave it to you. Please go ahead, go to After Effects and start manipulating, and I will see you in the next lecture.